The March 29th, 2022 meeting of the Hammond Advisory Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Could we all stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready for a roll call?
Roger Brown.
Here.
William Hutton.
Here.
Dennis Radowski.
Here.
Nancy Reagan. Nancy Reagan.
Nancy Reagan's on remote. I've lost connection.
Yeah.
She's unmuted. She just.
Nancy Reagan.
Can we count her as president even though she's not responding?
Is calling her?
Count her as president if she hasn't turned her video on.
Kathleen Hill.
Present.
5 present. We have a quorum.
Should we say 5?
We have the minutes of August 31st, 2021. Do we have a motion for the minutes?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Roger Brown.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Dennis Radowski.
Yes.
Nancy Reagan. Kathleen Hill.
Yes.
4 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. Motion passed.
And we also have the minutes for September 28th, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Roger Brock.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Dennis Radowski.
Yes.
Nancy Reagan. Kathleen Hill.
Yes.
4 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. Motion passed.
Could we have a motion to table the minutes for January 22nd, 2022 and February 23rd, 2022?
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Roger Brock.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Dennis Radowski.
Yes.
Nancy Reagan. Kathleen Hill.
Yes.
4 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention. Motion passed.
Is she on her phone instead of a computer or anything? Where she couldn't answer a phone?
She was on the computer.
I saw her. She was visually there, and then she turned off her video. But she's unmuted, and so is the phone
Okay.
number. So I'm not sure.
Well, then we will move to old business. We have Z-22-06, petition of Tawan Petroleum, Inc. for a variance of use regarding title section 10.11, 3, automobile fueling station to allow construction of a convenience store as an accessory use to an automobile fueling station in a C-1 local commercial district located at 403 Gosling Street in the city of Hammond.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Brandt, and my address is 5201 Fountain Drive in Schererville, Indiana.
If I may step in at this moment, obviously for those that have been here, this is the 3rd time that we've heard this case. And I think it would be better to just, for efficiency purposes, to just hit the highlights so we know what we're talking about. And so this is a variance of use to allow them to reconstruct the convenience store that is on the property. We've had a lot of discussion about the setbacks. The building was shifted to the east a little bit, meets the side yard setback in the C1 district. We had extensive discussions over the past months about the location of the tanker truck and the fueling, and that the current fuel ports, or whatever they're called, are not being relocated, but it is more of that the truck will do the filling up after hours. So there would not be any conflict with the truck parking in front of the building and creating the potential hazard that the city was concerned about. And the other issue that we had discussed was the hours of operation, and that, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, it is closing at 11:30, open at 4:30?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and that for the fueling operation would occur between 11:30 and 4:30. And not, if you want to add anything, but I think those are the basic things that we're at the point of, is that with all the discussion that we've had, the staff and the petitioner have basically come to that conclusion. And if you want to add anything at this point.
I really don't have anything else to add other than that we've worked out the hours of operation, which was the last item that had to be agreed to for us to come here tonight. So nothing's really changed. Brian has explained it as best anybody could, and we're here tonight asking for an approval to move forward with this project.
Do you have any questions? You were able to meet with the owner and everything like that? He's in agreement, and
Yes.
that was why we tabled it last time.
Yes, yeah.
All right. You still want to open up for public expression at this time?
Do public hearing?
Was the public hearing continued?
We continued the case. I'm not sure if we continued the public hearing.
No notifications.
So if, yeah, you see the distinction, if you continued, if the public hearing was closed and you just continued the case, then you wouldn't reopen a public hearing.
Yeah, so we did
If
not-
you continued it during the public hearing or continued the public hearing in the motion to continue the case to this month, then you'd have to reopen and allow.
We finished public hearing, that was closed, and then there was further discussion before we had tabled it, correct?
Okay, and then it would just be the commission, if you have any questions, that would be fine. And if not, then staff report, and we need a vote.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Then can we have the staff report? Any amendments?
Okay, yes, so reading of the staff recommendation in case Z22-06, staff has reviewed the petitioner's proposal and recommends that the board make a favorable recommendation of the variance of use to the city council should the board feel the petitioner has met the standards, subject to the following 8 conditions. 1, final approval by city planning staff of the exterior facade, coping, pilasters, window panes, and window assemblies. 2, compliance with all federal ADA guidelines concerning van accessible parking stalls, ingress, egress, accessibility to the convenience store, and accessible restrooms. 3, the installation of lighting, fencing, a dumpster enclosure, and perimeter landscaping in the parking lot in compliance with all applicable regulations found in zoning ordinance 8514, Title 19, and Title 22 in particular, along the perimeter shared with residential zoning districts, or in particular, along the perimeter shared with residential zoning districts, and on-site lining may not exceed 3 foot candles in compliance with regulations as found in TS Title Section 19.20.12. 4, excuse me, compliance with Hammond City Code Chapters 94, 98, 101, 132, and 150, and in particular sections enforcing litter, junk, trash receptacles, snow removal, and the harboring of a public nuisance, as maintain a sanitary, safe, and aesthetically pleasing property. 5, all refueling of the underground storage tanks by any tanker truck shall only be done so during the hours the station is closed to the public, and all tanker truck personnel must always follow strict adherence to safe and proper use of a vapor recovery system during refueling sessions. 6, no outdoor displays of tires nor any other wares are allowed. 7, no storage on the premises overnight of customer vehicles, nor of vehicles of employees not actively on duty. And 8, all retail and fuel sales must cease, and the convenience store may not be open to the public between the hours of 11:30 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. as prescribed in Title Section 19.20.12, subsection D.
Okay. We have some proposed findings of facts. Any changes, recommendations, additions? All right, we will move to as far as, we have a motion to adopt the staff report and the proposed findings of fact, as well as the staff recommendations.
I would like to make that motion to accept the staff report as written and stated, and the proposed findings of fact as written.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan, Roger Brock.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Kathleen Hill.
Yes?
4 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention, motion passed.
All right, and this is a variance of use, so do we have a motion to send this along to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation, unfavorable, no recommendation?
I'll make a motion for a favorable recommendation.
And would you also include compliance with the, the conditions as stated in the staff report?
Included such, yes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan, Roger Brock.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Kathleen Hill.
Yes?
4 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention, motion passed.
Does your staff report automatically go with the favorable recommendation?
The staff report will be submitted to the city council with all the documentation,
Okay.
but as far as the motion, you have to make it very clear that your motion is including the conditions with the favorable recommendation.
All right, we will move on to new business.
Thank you very much.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
When are you
Thank
going to start?
When he gets through the city council.
When you get through city council. Oh, okay,
Hopefully by May.
by May. Maybe the weather would be better. All right, we have new business. We have D-22-07, petition of AAJ Properties LLC for a conditional use regarding Title Section 3.11, parens 1, parens 14, and in reference to Title Section 7.11, parens 6, St. Michael's Church to modify case Z-20-04 from place of worship not to exceed 100 person to place of assembly for a banquet facility not to exceed 225 person in an R1U urban single-family residential district located at 1230 170th Place in the city of Hammond. Have all notification requirements been met?
Yes, they have.
All right, you are the petitioner?
Yes, good evening.
Please state your name and sign in.
Yes, I did. My name is Steve Keller. I live at 2017 Azalea Drive in Highland. And much like you just said, we're here looking for conditional use for 1230 170th Place. It's currently owned by St. Michael's Church, and we're looking to put I should say, rent to a woman that plans on running it as a banquet hall, small gatherings, things like that. We worked with the city to define a couple of issues that were brought up. We're working with John Garcia of Garcia Consulting, who's here tonight to touch on a couple of concerns that the city had. So he can speak in more detail if needed. But yeah, she currently, the tenant currently rents another one of my father's buildings here in Hammond, where she does very similar things. She has workout studio, again, small gatherings, things like that, but is looking to expand. She's currently ran her business in Hammond here at a few other locations over the past 7 years. And she's just kind of keeping a good thing rolling, looking to expand. And she's a good tenant in our one building, so we were looking to let her rent that. And then at a future date, we have to work with Mr. Poland on, there's some land behind that property that we look to put roughly 6 to 8 single-family homes. And that's what we're in construction. We've done a number of rehabs to single-family homes and commercial properties here in Hammond with my father over the last decade or so. So we're kind of looking at bringing all that together here on this property. And there were a couple of things John wanted to touch on, if he can hear me here.
I can hear you. John Garcia, 7501 Indianapolis Boulevard. Do I need to have, based on the recommendations, the three items?
Yes, if you needed him to touch base on the 3 recommendations.
Yeah.
The city engineer to work out the drainage. We've approached him and given him preliminary plans on, but we haven't started any discussions on how we propose to combine drainage for both sides, the hall and the proposed house. We'll work it out together. Some of that sheet drainage goes towards the residential, the whole residential. So we'll address that, Mr. Button satisfaction. There was an issue with the restoration of the public right-of-way on the south side that encroaches, the parking, existing parking encroaches on the public right-of-way. And we'll move the parking north and satisfy all parking requirements by moving the parking north and then landscape that. I believe, Frank called it a tree lawn, trees, native vegetation, and probably a detention area in that part of the property. And then the documentation between the owner and the leasee to only occupy 225 people or less at any event. That'll be written into the lease agreement. Do you have any other questions? You have anything?
Can you just speak to the fact of the bingo operation?
Yes, to the best of my ability. Right now, they've had bingo renting that facility for, I believe, almost 20 years now. They operate on Friday nights. One time in the past, I think they were operating more than one evening, but that doesn't look, that was in the past. I believe it's around 5 or 6 o'clock till 10 or 11. I'm not quite sure those hours of operation there, but they're on a year-to-year lease. We were looking at keeping them there. She wants to, as she manages that building, manage that bingo as well and allow them to keep doing what they're doing. It seems to be that the people of the city enjoy it, they like having it, so we want to keep that there as a tenant. They re-sign, I believe, yearly as their bingo license comes up, so I believe that's April or May, and we'd like to continue to rent to them as well there. So, but they've been there for about 20 years now, I've been told.
For the benefit of the board, the history of this property, there is a cross-parking agreement and a parking cross-access agreement that's recorded against the property that provides a linkage to the church structure and the now separated property from for this building. Not to go into it, but too much, but there were previous actions by the board on this. This particular case is amending the second action. That's how we're handling it. It's not creating a third one. The agreement does, or the application does apply to the entire property. I know it was discussed that they have some potential plans of housing. That's really a separate issue and is not before the board at this time. All we're really talking about is can they modify the previous conditional use to go from a place of worship at maxed at 100 to a place of assembly maxed at 225. Okay, yeah.
If the bingo would show more than 100 people, that would still fall into the 225. There'd be no problems.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. For comparison, I know John Garcia made a count, I believe, 2 different times, and it was 160 to 180 people, I believe, in attendance of the bingo night. So that kind of gives you an idea in comparison to what they want to continue doing. Yeah.
John, did you say that was correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Any questions from the board members? We will open this up for public expression, comments. Anybody in the public that would like to make comments, pro, con, indifferent, in regard to Z 2207?
A reminder, if you're on your phone, it's *6 to unmute, *6.
Can everybody hear me? This is, if you'd like to make any comments regard to this petition, this case, anyone? Hopefully everybody heard me. All right, okay. Then we will close this period of public expression. Any other questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, we will move into the staff report.
Excuse me. So in the case of Z-22-07, staff recommendation reads as staff has reviewed the petitioner's proposal and recommends that the board grant the conditional use should the board feel that the petitioner has met the standards, subject to the following 3 conditions. 1, final approval of the site drainage plan by city engineer. 2, restoration of the tree lawn to the public parkway along the 171st Street right-of-way. And 3, documentation of the owner's restriction on the occupancy to 225 persons within the lease agreement.
All right, we have some findings of fact to review. Any changes, additions that members would like to make? Hearing none. Do we have a motion to adopt the staff report and the recommendations and the proposed findings of fact into the record?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Nancy Reagan,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes?
5 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Madam President, so because it wasn't an issue before, and it just raised itself now, because the emergency order by the governor has expired, currently now we're operating in the way we can operate under the Zoom theory or under a Zoom protocol is under the resolution that was adopted by the Hammond City Council, and under the statute that gave the council the authority to do that. And one of the requirements to appear on Zoom is that you have to be physically able to be viewed. So, for instance, so if Nancy's she can certainly appear via phone without a video and listen, but if she's going to participate, or anyone's going to participate, then you've got to have your video on for the vote to be recorded. So I think technically
Vote doesn't count.
that it would be a 4-0 vote on that. And if
Will you let us know that ahead of the meeting? When they call us and maybe let us know if we're going to be present or not, what we need to do, instead of during the meeting?
sure.
I think that should have been brought up way before now, into the middle of the day.
Well, I understand, but that resolution was passed a long time ago. It was also passed by this body a long time ago, and the emergency ended at the beginning of March. So,
Okay, but I mean, we should just be notified that. We could have even been in our packets notifying us that.
Duly noted, thank you.
I just would have been there, but I have pneumonia.
Understood, thank you, Nancy.
Understood. Thank you for at least
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to,
showing.
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, if you're able to maybe get on your smartphone and mute your smartphone, you could, or your desktop and mute, turn off the audio on your desktop, you could maybe be present visually, but, yeah. I understand it's complicated.
Let's move on.
Okay. All right, we had just a vote in regard to adopting the staff report with the recommendations and the proposed findings of fact, correct? So we are now moving on to as far as the modified conditional use for Z-20-04 for the places of assembly up to 225 person, which is Z-2207. What's the pleasure of the board members? Would they prefer to approve, deny?
I'd like to make that motion to approve those conditional uses.
Second.
Subject to the conditions in the staff report?
Subject to the condition of the staff report. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes?
4 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
We now have Z-22-08, petition of Pamela Walker for a conditional use regarding Title Section 10.11, parens 11, public buildings, library, places of worship, daycare centers, museums to allow a child daycare and an after-school program with a curated children's museum in a C4 General Commercial District located at 7051 Kennedy Avenue in the city of Hammond. Have all notification requirements been met?
Yes, they have.
Hi, I'm Pamela Walker, and my husband is Gary Walker, and we're located at 13421 107th Avenue in Dyer, Indiana, and we're here to request a conditional use for property at 7051 Kennedy in Hammond, Indiana, to put in a children's museum, City of Great Discovery Children's Museum, and also a preschool program, Collegiate Kids Academy.
You gotta tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Okay, so I didn't know how
People in
much.
the public know.
Okay, so about 30 years ago, I wanted to always put in a children's museum. And I started the process of researching, going to school, and doing all the things that I needed to prepare for this vision. And so I had an opportunity a couple of years ago to our kids are grown now, and so we had the opportunity to put in this museum. And so this museum would be a program that would help with the kids being out with COVID for a couple of years. There's a huge learning gap. And we just want to be able to fill those gaps and be a partner with you guys in helping with that. So it's called the City of Great Discovery, and it's all about discovery. Discovering who you are. It's discovering, even you're in the city, but discovering who you are and discovering your gifts and your talent. And so the programming would be very robust. We're very strong with science, and we right now have we have a conversation with the University of Chicago to bring in science, where we want to bring in more more young people, getting them interested in becoming doctors. And so with the programming, we'll have a lot of science-based programming to do that in math. And we'll be bringing in STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, math, and art. And so all of this, we want to have the state-of-the-art, the best programming to give our kids the best tools available. The Kids Academy would be just the learning labs that will be available, so if parents need to work and need to drop off the kids during the day, we will have those learning labs available for them.
If I may ask just a couple of questions to put some things into the record.
Okay.
Okay. So you indicated that you're potentially going to serve 43 children?
Initially, yes.
Initially, yes. Okay.
Yes.
And so can you kind of just briefly just talk about the kids, the age groups, and where you hope to grow?
Okay, so.
Could you touch upon the licensing as far as have you received licensing yet, or will this be after this is?
We have to do this first,
Okay,
and then
all
we'll
right.
move to apply for a license. You have to have a city license first, and then you apply for the state of Indiana license. So we will have infants, approximately 8 infants. We will have toddlers, 15 toddlers, and 20 preschoolers. So it's a very small private situation. It's not, we don't intend it to be a very big program. We just want to have, at most 50 children in the building. And the museum, we want to be able to have the community to take part of that in the evenings. And we anticipate probably no more than 30 children in the museum at any given time. So we want to include the community as well as have a private school, preschool program as well.
Yeah, so the preschool program would be more for local, and the City of Great Discovery would be open to groups from all over Chicago.
All over, yeah.
Or northern Indiana. Yeah.
Yes. It's kind of like your go-to, come to Hammond, we got this new children's museum coming.
Yeah, so and that museum after-school program would start about 6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9, yes.
And then for the daycare facility, you have to have this designated outdoor space, and so we've talked with you about marking off some of the existing parking spaces in order to provide that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For the licensing, the square footage for the outside is appropriate?
Yes, ma'am. It's 75 square feet per child, and we would probably need 6 or 7 parking spaces in the back, so it won't interfere with any type of movement of traffic.
Going out in groups and not necessarily in the mixed groups or anything like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Was the barbershop still going to remain in operation?
Yes.
Where?
It's
Where?
it's a little. They have about 1,000 square feet, very small operation, but it's going to remain.
It's in the corner, right?
It's on the corner, yes.
Yeah.
Somewhere?
On the corner.
In the corner of the corner part of the building, yeah. And then There's a second floor, right?
Yes, but those are tenants,
Okay, and they're housing tenants?
housing tenants, yes.
Okay.
So would parking have to be for them to also? That include?
Well, I mean, yes, I mean, that's where, there is, it's an existing parking lot, and the parking demand for daycare centers is different than a commercial operation, so when you kind of just balance all the numbers out, it basically works from a,
Okay.
because of different hours of operation and
Yes.
things like that, it just kind of balances out.
The museums,
They'll have 37 spaces, yeah.
pardon?
They should have about 37 spaces. That may fluctuate by a couple, when we finalize plans, but
The museum part of your program, will that include parents also, or only for the children?
The museum will be separate because the children will go at
I
the
know,
end.
but will parents be invited to attend with their child? in the
Yes,
museum?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And could adults go if they just want to?
Yes.
You gonna publish
We'll
that?
follow you around, though.
You gonna publish what you're going to have? Is that aspect then would be pretty much open to other people than just the daycare part? So there'd be different type of information going out on it as far as the museum?
Yes, it's a separate business.
Okay, and I noticed you basically had commented that you have been working with the school city of Hammond.
I'm wanting to talk with the superintendent to partner with them to find out what the needs are, and then see what type of programming and classes that we can give to support whatever deficits that's going on in the district.
Okay, so you have not done that yet?
Not yet, no, because we were
Basically,
busy.
You're looking as far as, especially for the pre-K, getting them geared to go into that kindergarten program too.
Yes, give them a very good foundation.
and for reference, just on the other side of Kennedy Avenue is the Morton Elementary School.
Yes.
So that could be a strong partner moving forward.
All right, anything else? Mr. Poland, you want to bring anything else to our attention?
No, I have no more questions.
Okay, any other board members have any questions?
I have one. The ages, you talked about infants and toddlers and teenagers. What are the ages?
Okay, so it'll be, for the preschool, it's infants, 6 weeks to 5 years old.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
you're welcome.
And for the museum part, you would have,
Well, we can have infants, we'll have a little soft area for the infants, and then we'll go as up to age 10. We'll have exhibits for all age spectrums, but age 10 is our cutoff.
is this the first time you've done the mixture of the daycare and the museum?
Yes. I have over 30 years' experience in the daycare arena and the early childhood arena. So the museum is a new business for me, yes.
Okay, will they be allowed, as far as the ones that start early in the morning, to be able to stay with you until the museum closes?
The museum will open once the children leave, and then the museum will open. And then the museum will be open on the weekends for parents to bring their children.
So during the weekdays, those children would be going home. If they want to, they could return back.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not serving a dinner or anything like that?
No.
I'm gonna go.
You might have a PCA meeting. Do you have any other questions? All right, let's open up for public comments. Anybody in the public like to express any questions, concerns, pros, cons? They're sitting very quietly in the back. Relatives, sister, daughter, son? Okay. So, all right. We will close this period of public expression and move on to as far as our staff report.
conditional use case for Z-22-08. Staff recommendation reads, as staff has reviewed the petitioner's proposal and recommends that the board grant the conditional use. Should the board feel that the petitioner has met the standards, subject to the following two conditions. One, final approval of parking lot striping patterns site plan. And two, compliance with applicable state of Indiana regulations for child daycare centers.
All right, we have as far as proposed findings of fact. Does any board member have any changes, additions, comments? Hearing none, do we have a motion to adopt the staff report and their recommendations and the proposed findings of fact as presented into the record?
Make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes.
4 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
All right, do we have any motion in regard to Z-2208 for the conditional use permit for a child care center and a children's museum at 7051 Kennedy Avenue?
So moved,
Including the staff,
including staff report and findings.
sorry, including the conditions in the staff.
And the conditions
Okay.
of the staff report and the findings of fact.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have that motion.
Thanks, Brian. Sorry, Tom.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we have a roll call vote?
Dennis Radowski,
Yes.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Kathleen Hill,
Yes?
4 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Good luck. And basically, I'm in that area, and you definitely hit it, that they need to, COVID has totally affected them. All right, any commissioners' comments? None? Staff comments?
There's, I think Shannon brought to my attention that at a previous meeting, we were discussing the May meeting and whether or not we were going to adjust it for Memorial Day, and I don't believe that decision was made.
I couldn't tell you what my calendar is yet, I'll be honest with you.
Do what? I'm sorry?
I can't tell you what my calendar is.
Well, this is the March meeting, right?
It
And
is the March meeting.
Tom, do we have something for April?
We may have one signed case, but it's probably not going to happen. So
So
right now, looking like probably no April.
our concern is that if we don't have an April meeting, we need to make a decision now. You know, if something, you know, we're going to discuss this tomorrow to make sure we have everything, you know, where we're at in the cases, but that's why we're asking that we kind of make a decision tonight, because we don't know if we're going to be here in April to make that decision.
Okay, but basically, you know, I'm only one of 5, and I'll be honest with you, I'm expecting people from American Montessori Society to come for a reaccreditation, and I do not have a date double here. So that's why I don't know. I could be here, I might not be here.
Correct date is May 31st, right?
Yes, the meeting's the last Tuesday of the month, which is obviously the day after Memorial Day, and
Does that affect too, as far as the council meeting?
no, it doesn't affect the
Okay.
council meeting because it just happens to be 5 Mondays in the
Right.
month of May. But it does affect, 2 of the staff members are going to be out of the office on parts of, around that weekend,
In May?
around Memorial Day, yes.
All Are we better off just canceling a May meeting?
I don't know if we can cancel a May meeting because we may have items on the agenda.
If you pick a day, I'll be there.
Well, okay, so the question is then, if we do pick another day, and what would that day most likely be for your schedule? And so what we're really talking about is, do we want to, sticking to the fact we have a Monday holiday, and that, do we want to keep it on the Tuesday, right after a Monday holiday? Do you want to,
You have the 24th, the Tuesday before.
I'm not sure if we really want to do that, just because of the time it takes to get these cases prepared. It's not unheard of to try and think of June 1st.
Good. June 1st it is.
That's a Wednesday.
So,
And we will double check to make sure that there's no conflict with other meetings on a Wednesday before it is final, but do I have as best a commitment as possible from at least three of the people present?
You've got my commitment of last minute, I can let you know when I know it.
Roger, Dennis?
I'm in. Have to check on it. It's a rough one.
I have no life.
Okay, so right now, we will operate under the premise and do all our due diligence that we will look into changing the meeting to June 1st. And if everybody would check their schedules and let us know. If something changes in the next couple of weeks, please let us know.
I will let you know anything I know, as soon as I know, and then we would have a June 1st and a June 28th.
Yes, that will make June a very fun month.
It's all right.
So, I mean, we'll operate.
We only go to July 1st then.
Well, we're not going to sit here and try and change the whole schedule, but, if, let's just say we're going to operate on this right at the moment, and if we have to adjust it differently, we will contact you otherwise.
All right. Any public comment? Hearing none. I shall adjourn the meeting at 6:45, I